Begin our service with the words of the Reverend Kenneth L. Patton. Let us worship with our eyes and our ears and our fingertips. Let us love the world through heart and mind and body. We feed our eyes upon the mystery and revelation in the faces of our siblings. We seek to know the wistfulness of the very young and the very old, the wistfulness of people in all times of life. We seek to understand the shyness behind arrogance, the fear behind pride, the tenderness behind clumsy strength, the anguish behind cruelty. All life flows into great common life, if only we will open our eyes to our companions. Let us worship, not in bowing down, not with closed eyes or stopped ears. Let us worship with the opening of all of the windows of the Spirit, all the windows of our beings, the full outstretching of our spirits. Life comes with singing and laughter, with tears and confiding, with a rising wave too great to be held in the mind and heart and body to those who have fallen in love with life. Come, let us worship together. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of service. And now if you'll rise, and as we join in saying our affirmation, our opening hymn, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. It's number 188 in your gray hymnal. We're going to sing it as a round. I think, what do you think, 1, 2 or 3? 2? All right, so we're going to sing it in a round of 2. So we're going to sing it through together once, just so everybody gets on the same page. And then we'll break into a round starting here, and this side will go second. John will lead this half, and I'll lead this half. Let us sing together. Come, come, whoever you are, wonder, worship, lover of living, ours is no care of despair. invite you to remain risen as we say our affirmation words.
Please join me in saying the affirmation of this congregation. You'll find it on the screen and in the order of service. It is also inscribed in many of our hearts. We say it in English and in Spanish as a symbol of the many languages spoken in this community and beyond, the many languages of the soul. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls may grow into harmony with the divine. This do we covenant with one another. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. La búsqueda de la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es su oración. Habitar juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con libertad y servir a la humanidad juntos con el fin de que todas las almas puedan crecer en armonía con lo divino. Esto es lo que pactamos unos con otros. And this is our land acknowledgement. We light a candle in recognition of the Tamian and Muwekma Ohlone indigenous peoples who were the first humans to inhabit and sustain this land thousands of years before settler colonizers arrived. We honor the resilience of these indigenous peoples in the face of devastating harm, and we lift up the resilience of their neighboring tribe to the south, the Amamutsun tribal band, with whom we are working to preserve their sacred land of Yuristak and to ensure that their culture continues to thrive. Welcome to worship with the First Unitarian Church of San Jose, where we are seekers. At our best, we know that we don't know it all, and so humbly we seek new perspectives, new awakenings to help us live out the mission of this congregation to make love visible in all that we say and do. My name is Jan Theiss-Guffey, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm an older white woman with long white hair, and today I'm wearing a navy and white dress. And it is my pleasure to serve as your worship associate this morning. We are so glad you are here today. If you are new or visiting, thank you for becoming part of this community, even if just for today. My spouse and I have been attending First Unitarian for a long time and raised our 2 kids here. What keeps me coming back? I've found the warmth of love in this community. Here I am spiritually nurtured, and here I am challenged to live out my values of creating justice, of the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and of caring for our beautiful earth in an increasingly challenging world. If you are new, you are invited to stop by the welcome table after the service during social hour in Hattie Porter Hall through these doors to my left, where you can also find coffee and conversation. And if you want to know more about this church or about Unitarian Universalism, we invite you to attend our starting point class, which will be upstairs in the youth room today at 1 p.m. We will also serve a light lunch. And as part of our information today, we noticed that the elevator is not working. So just be aware of that. We'll now say hi to our friends joining us online. There they are. And now the camera person will show the friends in the room so the friends on Zoom can see us. And just so you know, the camera's over there. So there we are. And here we are. And there's a littlest waiver right there. As Unitarian Universalists, we embrace religious pluralism as a core part of our faith. We believe there is no single way to understand or connect with that which is greater than ourselves, whether we call it God, the divine, the universe, or the mystery. And we know there are many paths to spiritual depth and spiritual growth, which brings us to today's service. This is a special day to be here because we're trying out something different. We're calling it Action Sunday. Today we'll have a short worship service about 30 minutes long, which our young folks are invited to stay in the service the whole time. And then there'll be 6 different workshops or activities, and you get to pick which one sounds interesting to you. And Reverend Matthew will tell you more about that in a moment. But first, I have a quick announcement. I am giving you today the opportunity, if you hadn't had a chance last week, to write a letter to our senators about the cuts in food assistance recently passed by the House of Representatives. Legislation passed by the House of Representatives would cut funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, by $290 billion, the largest single reduction of domestic food assistance ever enacted. It has now gone to the Senate, which will be drafting its own bill. SNAP is the United States' most important anti-hunger program. Each month, 42 million Americans depend on SNAP to help afford groceries, of which 40% are children, and states cannot make up the difference. So we know our senators will work to restore these cuts, but our senators need to know we oppose these cuts to vital food assistance, and you can also write to the President of the Senate right now. Food banks can only do so much. There's a form letter from Bread for the World, which is celebrating its 50th year fighting for food for all. You can just sign, you can write your own letter, and all the materials are provided, and also some homemade bread you can enjoy while you're writing.
So a few other announcements. So next Sunday, as you may or may not know, there's going to be an installation service for me as your, well, at this point, newish settled minister. This is a tradition that dates back, I don't know, more than 100 years, I'm sure, in our Unitarian Universalist tradition. When a congregation calls a minister to serve it, there's a service. So this is going to be a second service after our morning one at 4 o'clock. Y'all are invited. I know many of you have already RSVP'd. Thank you for doing that. But it's kind of, it's a big thing. It's been 20 years since this church, or 19, 20 years since the church last had one. And so we have leaders, religious leaders, both interfaith folks from the local community, as well as Unitarian Universalist religious leaders from throughout the area coming to help lead the service. In fact, although it's a service that is about not just me, but our ministry together, I only actually say the benediction. So we have a lot of other people speaking, so I encourage you to show up. And please RSVP so that we know, especially if you're coming to the dinner, so we know roughly how many people to provide food for. Also, we still need a few people to help out with volunteering with setup and cleanup. There's information about that in the program if you can help out with that. And then 2 weeks from now, on Saturday the 14th, where some of you heard about me talking in the past about this idea for a gardening project that rotates around. Since I like to garden a lot, and since we don't have much space here at the garden, like I used to garden at my previous church, I had this idea that maybe we do something that moves around to different locations and different projects. So in 2 weeks from now, we're kicking it off with what we're calling it community gardening, with 2 U's in community, of course. And so we're going to be doing sheet mulching. And so come out, and this is going to be something we'll be looking for other places and different projects to do throughout the year, helping people out, building community, helping support nature. I'm really excited about it. And if you show up, you can not only help out and build community, but we're going to have some seedlings for you to take home with you, things that you can plant this time of year, like beans and melons and squash, which brings me to the the biggest thing, which is Action Sunday, which is our event today. So as Jan mentioned, this is something new. It's our first time trying it. We're doing this one as kind of a pilot project this morning. And then we're going to start it up again in the fall. We're going to try it for 6 months in the fall. But this is an opportunity to work out any kinks, like what do you do when the elevator stops working the morning of the service, for instance. And so there's 6 different workshops you can participate in. There's one to reflect on the worship topic, which today will be with me. There's a choir, there's a rehearsal. If you want to sing in the choir for the installation next Sunday, you can come to that. If maybe making it to the Allegria Singers rehearsal on Wednesday is too challenging, you can do that and then rehearse again on next Sunday afternoon. We'll be creating cards for people who may be at home a lot and need some just kind of warmth and cheer brought into their life. That'll be downstairs. We'll have seed planting, so some of those seeds that'll be planted you can take home, but even if you don't get to do the seed planting workshop, because you can only do one workshop, maybe 2 if you get done with the other one quick and run over to another one. It's a possibility. And you still want seedlings, you can come to that community gardening event in 2 weeks. And at that point, they will be sprouted. And then you don't have to worry about watering them and making sure they're getting enough water or not getting enough water. And you can just take them and put them in the ground. And then we'll have an opportunity to practice meditation in the youth room. And then we'll have assembling hygiene kits for the unhoused downstairs in the conference room. And so all that information is in your order of service. On the back of your order of service, and you don't have to make the decision now. I'll talk about this again before we break out and go a little bit over the logistics, but just to get you percolating on what's in store for today. So, now it's time for our story for all ages. Sorry, I just want to make sure that was on. It is. Good. So for those who are young at heart, if you want to join me down in the labyrinth, Hi. I have a story about someone who liked to wander around. Last week I wasn't here because I was hiking in the foothills around this, and something I greatly enjoy. And once upon a time, in a land of mountains and meadows, there was a wandering teacher. And wherever she went, people gathered. They said she was a very wise woman. Some even said she was a holy woman. And she studied ancient books and fasted in the mountains. That means not eating for a few days. She sung with monks and listened to the wind. She would wander the land, and everywhere she traveled, people came hoping she would help them to be happier, to be wiser, or to make their lives more fulfilled. And so they came from far and wide to ask her questions. But the teacher never gave the same answer twice. One day, after a day of traveling, she sat under a tree to rest. And soon, as so often did, a crowd had gathered. A scholar stepped forward first. She was hunched over from the weight of the knapsack that she carried on her back. "I've read countless sacred texts," she said, pulling out some books from her backpack. "I've learned chants and memorized sayings, but I still feel so far from the truth. Tell me, great teacher, what book should I read? What book should I be reading?" The teacher smiled gently. "Close books for now. Forget what you know and go walk under the stars. Let the sky ask the questions. Let mystery and wonder be your teachers. A collector came forward next, dressed in fine silks and carrying a jeweled walking stick. His fingers sparkled with rings, and he spoke with pride. "Great teacher," he said, "I've traveled the world. I own beautiful paintings and statues and sacred relics from distant lands, but still I feel empty." The teacher looked at him thoughtfully. "You have gathered many treasures," she said, "but a heart that only stores becomes like a cupboard that is stuffed too full. There's no space for anything new." The man raised an eyebrow. "What should I do?" he asked. "Give something away," she said. "Not something easy, but something dear. Give it freely to someone who needs it more than you. Then listen to what your heart says when it has space again." The man glanced at the rings on his hand, then down at his walking stick. He didn't say a word, but his grip on it loosened just a little. A young man came forward quietly, his eyes cast downward. "I meditate every day," he said. "I sit in silence, I watch my breath, I try to be still, but it feels like something's missing." The teacher nodded gently. "Silence is good medicine," she said, "but not when your heart is full of unspoken truths." She pointed to a nearby bench where others were talking. "Go sit with a friend or a stranger. Tell your story. Listen to theirs. Let words be the doorway to connection." The young man nodded slowly, then walked toward the bench, his shoulders a little lighter. A mother came forward, her arms full of baskets and her eyes full of worry. "Great teacher," she said, "I care for everyone, my children, my parents, my neighbors. I give all I have, but lately I feel like I'm fading away." The teacher took the baskets from her hand and helped her set them down. "You've poured so much from your cup," she said, "that you've forgotten to drink from it too." "But if I stop, who will cook?" she asked. "Who will clean? Who will hold the family together?" The teacher smiled. "Let someone else stir the soup. Let the dust wait a day. Take a morning for yourself. Sit by a tree, paint, sing, breathe. A well must be filled before it can give." The mother nodded slowly, like someone remembering something they once knew. A girl with bare feet and tangled hair came next. "I sing and dance in the forest," she said. "I make up prayers for the trees, but everyone tells me I should sit still and be serious. What should I be doing? Am I doing something wrong?" The teacher's eyes sparkled. "No, little one. Keep singing, keep spinning. Your joy is your prayer." The girl giggled and she began to skip away before she stopped to pick a dandelion and blew its seeds until they scattered all over, and she carried on her way. Next came a warrior. His armor clinked as he knelt down before her. "Great teacher," he said, "I have spent my life defending others, standing strong, showing no fear. But inside, I feel tired, hollow." The teacher looked into his eyes. "Then go sit by a river," she said. "Let the water carry your burdens. Let yourself cry. Softness is not weakness." Finally, the teacher noticed someone standing quietly at the back of the crowd. He wasn't pushing forward like the others. He just stood there looking uncertain. So she walked up to him. "What can I do for you?" she asked. The man held his hands out as if to say, I don't know. Something feels missing. I don't believe in God. I don't pray. I don't fast. I don't really do anything spiritual, but I feel like I should. The teacher smiled and sat beside him. "When do you feel most alive?" she asked. He thought for a moment, then answered, He thought for a moment and then answered, "When I play with my children, when we make up stories, when we run barefoot through the meadow chasing butterflies and laugh until we fall over." The teacher placed a hand on his. "Then play. Play with your whole heart. That is your practice. That is your path." The man stared at her. "That's all?" "That's everything." And so, the teacher kept walking across mountains and meadows, answering questions the people would ask, but she never gave the same answer twice. And when people asked why, she said, "There is no one path to wisdom, to happiness. It is many little paths, and each person must follow their own." And so if you ever wonder what path you should walk, what you're supposed to do, or who you're meant to be, just ask yourself, what makes you feel alive? And see where that takes you. And now, actually, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to invite you to join me in a brief meditation or prayer, to close your eyes and just notice your breath. Spirit of life, help us to find the way that is ours. Not the easiest path or the most obvious, but the one that makes our heart feel alive. If we must speak, give us courage. If we must listen, give us quiet. If we must give, help us open our hands. If we must rest, help us trust the stillness. If we must grieve, sit with us in the sorrow until the ache becomes part of the song. Let us honor the journey of others and walk our own with wonder. Amen, and blessed be. And so, we're not dismissing our kids to their religious education classes this morning, as Jan mentioned earlier. Our service is going to end soon, and then we'll go off into our actions. But first, one spiritual practice that we can engage in is generosity. And so it is with that spirit that we take up our offering this morning to sustain the work of this church. If you can donate online by going to sanjoseuu.org/donate, and please specify the purpose there, which is, I believe, Sunday morning offering. If you're writing a check, you can make it payable to FUCJ. Your offerings will now be gratefully received. the work of the church, which is making love visible in all we say and do, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe that there is no right way to believe. People are different, and we all have our own ideas about life and love and what is greater than us, whether we call that God, Spirit, the universe, or simply a great mystery. In our faith, we believe that there are many truths and many different paths people can take to find meaning and understanding. And so we have people from different backgrounds. Some are Christian, some are Jewish or Buddhist or Hindu. Others are humanist or atheist, agnostic or pagan. Some people believe in God, some people believe in many gods or goddesses, and some don't believe in any at all, and that's okay. What matters most is how we treat each other and how we try to live lives of love and kindness and honesty. Patrick O'Neill says that the things that are holy and sacred in this life are neither stored away on mountaintops nor locked away in arcane secrets of the saints. I doubt that any church has a monopoly on them either. What holiness there is in this world resides in the ordinary bonds between us, and whatever bonds we manage to create between ourselves and the divine, whatever that may mean to us. We also believe that there are many ways to grow spiritually. Just like there's not just one way to believe, there is not one way to practice your faith or connect with something larger than yourself. Some people pray, others meditate. Some people feel most spiritual when they're walking in nature or listening to music or making art. Others find meaning in helping others, in fighting for justice, in caring for the earth. Even everyday things can be spiritual practices if they help you feel calm, connected, or full of love. You know, as a minister, I have to confess, I'm not very good at meditating. I feel like I should be, but I'm not. And so for me, some of the most important spiritual practices, the most important spiritual practice I do is gardening, which is why sometimes you'll see me like I am this morning with dirt underneath my fingernails. Earlier this year, you may have noticed drums occasionally showing up in the church. That's because I started to play drums again for the first time in 13 years, and it's been a marvelously grounding spiritual practice, especially during these difficult times. Something that just changes the way I think and also allows me to get some exercise and occasionally some intense energy out, if that's in there as well. And so that's part of what these Action Sundays are about, is an opportunity to practice many different ways of engaging in our spirituality, that there are many different paths. And that part of spirituality, though, is that we do it with one another. And so I hope as we try this out this first time that we use this opportunity to try out new things, but also to make connections with people we may never have met before, people who are younger than us, people who are older than us, and to build those connections. And so I'm very much looking forward to this opportunity. So, whether your path is clear or still unfolding, whether you find truth in science, nature, prayer, music, or service, your journey matters. We believe that every person's path is sacred and that by walking together, each in our own way, we can help make the world a more loving, just, and connected place. Which brings us to our Action Sunday. So, We're going to sing, after this, we're going to sing our closing hymn, and we're going to have a benediction, but I just want to talk about it beforehand so we can just do that and head out. So again, we have 6 different options. For those of you who are joining us on Zoom, there are 2 options. And just stay here on Zoom, and we'll have an opportunity to put you into one of the 2 breakout groups. For those who are joining on Zoom, we have the reflecting on the worship topic with me, or the meditation practice with Mary Martin. And as well as that, we have, so the meditation, for those of you here in the building, the reflection on the worship topic will be through in the fireside room, which is out these doors and just down the hall. Those of you who want to go to the meditation, that'll be up the stairs. As was noted, our elevator is for the first time in, I don't know, no one remembers it ever being out before. So this is fun for the day when we're asking people to go upstairs and downstairs. So upstairs, though, in our youth room, we have is where the meditation practice is happening. Outside, you can just go out these doors. Actually, or you can go out the front doors, but it's probably easier to go out there into this courtyard out here. We'll be planting seeds. We'll also be downstairs. We'll be assembling hygiene kits for the unhoused. And that'll be in the conference room downstairs. Also downstairs in the classrooms, we'll be creating cards for those who are homebound. So that's kind of an arts and craftsy activities. So lots of different opportunities. And then finally, if you want to sing in the choir for next Sunday's installation service, you're invited to stay here in the sanctuary and join John Ector and Diane Sychek and Dai to make music together. So there's no right answer. Do whatever calls to you. If you're not sure where to go, if you're not particularly familiar with the building, please ask someone, and I'm sure they'll help you get to where you're going. And again, all that information is on your order of service. And so now let's rise in body or in spirit and join in singing When the Spirit Says Do. It's number 1024. Up, but so the lyrics are: you got to do when the Spirit says do, you got to do when the Spirit says do, you got to do when the Spirit says do, you got to do, oh Lord, you got to do when the Spirit says do. You'll figure it out if you don't know it. Got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do, oh Lord. You got to do when the Spirit says do. You gotta sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing, oh Lord. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta clap. You got to clap when the Spirit says clap. When the Spirit says clap, when the Spirit says clap, you gotta clap, oh Lord. You gotta clap when the Spirit says clap. You gotta shout. You gotta shout when the Spirit says sing. You gotta shout when the Spirit says shout. Come on. When the Spirit says shout, you gotta shout, oh Lord. You gotta shout. Do. Got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do, oh Lord. You got to do when the Spirit says do. So let's reach out and take hands. One of the things that I'm learning, as I said, this is a learning opportunity for Action Sunday, is that things that I imagine will take a certain amount of time may take longer. So, we'd leave you with some benediction words as we head off to our different activities. Spirit of, may we leave this space not knowing the way, but trusting in the journey. May your path be crooked and alive and filled with wonder. May you listen for the quiet voice inside, the one that says, this way, if just for today. And when you meet others on their way, may you bless their journey, even if it looks nothing like their own. Go in peace. Go into your actions. Oh.